back, everybody.
Back.
I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are two average guys. Let me make sure we're all set up here on the live feed. Just take a second here. Hope everyone's doing good on this.
While you do that, I'm gonna do this.
We're good on this non-snowy Monday. Pretty exciting to not have too much snow left on the ground anymore.
Yeah, after it being sunny today, I think everything kind of went away.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lost power from 3 to midnight last night.
Yeah.
So
this guy lost power, so we had to kind of revise what we were going to do and switch to today. So no big deal. We're here today, and we're going to go ahead and enjoy the show a little bit. So hopefully you guys joining in, enjoy it. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we are now 0-6 for the first time ever. So not exactly something that we ever thought would happen.
With a 10-game losing streak that I wouldn't think we'd have happen either.
Exactly. So, it is what it is. There's a lot to take away from that, and there's a lot to be upset about. There's a lot of questions, but I think, we're going to start just by going over what we saw this last weekend.
Right.
Because I think you can still point out some good things, but you can point out a lot of bad things too. And so I think we'll go ahead and start with that and then kind of see where we go from there. So before we do that, we are 0-6, first time. We thought it'd be appropriate to take a shot of Fireball.
So if you've got something at home that you've got, if you want to
take a shot with us, feel free. Cheers to Nebraska, 0-6. We're going to get that win hopefully this week against Minnesota. So cheers.
I'll be there.
Oh, always refreshing.
Yes.
Anyways,
always goes down smooth.
Always goes down smooth, fairly smooth. So we're here. We're excited to talk about Husker football, as always. So this last weekend, we went down to over to Evanston. One thing I was really excited about in the morning is seeing all the pictures of the frost on the field.
Yeah, that's cool. And there's a lot, it's a lot of red. There always is there.
They
were saying on TV 50-50. My boss was there. He said today it was easily 70-30, if not more.
Either way, we always travel well to Evanston. So it's really cool to see all the red in the stands, even the guys.
Plus, there's just a lot of people in Chicago that are from Nebraska. So.
Very true. And it's an easy trip, easy drive there.
Right.
But seeing on TV, seeing the guys commentating on how many people were there from Nebraska or Nebraska fans there, all the red in the stands. I mean, it was really cool. It was cool to see when we did something good. They weren't able to. They had to use a silent snap against us, so they had to do different things just because.
And it's funny too. You hear boos, and it's like normally that would be like
who are you booing?
Yeah, but it was all the Husker fans there, so good to see. Keep that up. That's what we need.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was fun to see the crowd, just see how many fans will still travel to go watch the team who's 0-5.
Right.
So we took the 34-31 loss, and so once again, that's not something that we really thought that we had the best chance to win that game. We really did.
And I mean, we lost that. I mean, we don't play the Akron game. I think if we play the Akron game, we win that. Maybe we are still 1-6 at this point. But I think we do win that game.
I do, and
all this record stuff and all that is not.
And that can definitely change. That can definitely change the tone of the season if you start off with a win.
And I know we've talked about that before, so we won't go into it. But that's just my feeling about it.
Yeah, so we didn't get a chance to start off with a win, so that kind of sucked. But it is what it is, and we're gonna move on. We got Minnesota this next week, so we gotta see what we can do against Minnesota.
Yeah, we got a real chance to win that one, make the first win for Scott.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the case. But they played Ohio State tough. So.
They did, and we'll go into that a little bit later in the show, talk about the game that they played against Ohio State this last weekend. But let's talk about our game against Northwestern first, because I think there's a lot of things. A lot of people are really upset about the defense. I mean, you get kind of up and down. Hey, we're doing good, Dalton.
Hey, bud.
Yeah, $6. Man, maybe we'll go to $6 for the Bethune-Cookman game. Maybe we'll have to go to that.
Is that really?
Yeah.
It's 11 o'clock, which sucks. I hate 11 o'clock games.
I've started drinking at 8:30 for a football game before, so.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, I mean, a lot of questions going into the game. One of the biggest questions is our defense. no doubt, our defense, especially in the fourth quarter, struggled. Really, the first half, breaking down the first half, we had to start the game. We got the ball, we drive down the field, and we scored.
And we scored easy.
Easily.
What was it? It was only like 4 plays for a 75-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, it was 4, 5, 6 plays maybe, and we scored. And I thought right there, I'm like, wow, like that was easy. But guess what? We did that against Wisconsin too. We scored.
Did that against Purdue. We didn't do that against Wisconsin.
We've had some easy scores against Wisconsin. We had a couple drives where we scored pretty easily.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying.
Purdue, we scored on the first drive of the game.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we can score fast.
Right.
We, especially with the high tempo and with J.D. Spielman, with Azigbo, we can move the ball downfield. We can move it fast. And I think seeing that first drive, I'm like, man, like this is gonna be a good game. Like we're ahead. And I said last week, if we're ahead in the game, we're gonna win the game. If we get ahead, we should win the game. And we had a stop after that. Our defense came out and stopped them on 3 plays. We had a 3 and out.
I know.
On the first drive for Northwestern. So now I'm like,
I haven't been able to say this. I always, every week, you're always saying, all right, what did you think of the game? Like, right off the bat. And I always say, we started out slow, and then we couldn't come back.
Yeah.
It was not the case. We started out great. We stopped them on their first two or three drives
at least. Yeah, I mean, but the biggest thing that killed me in that first half was our offense.
Yeah.
We stopped. First drive was great. Second drive was really good. And then we get down there, we stop. We get stalled out, and we have to kick a 45-yard field goal.
Miss.
And he dings the goalpost.
Right upright.
And I don't even know if he had the distance. It hit kind of the upright and the goalpost. But
they said he had the distance. He was upright.
But, that's 45 yards is no easy kick, but I'm wondering if Fromm, he's our redshirt freshman. We also have a walk-on. He's not even listed on the depth chart, though. So he must be, like, way off from even being close because our redshirt is
Bring in a JUCO kicker or something for next season. I don't know.
I mean, my kids started riding my leg yesterday. I started lifting them up, and I'm like, man, my leg's getting kind of tough. Maybe I'll start kicking some footballs,
kicking field goals.
Maybe I'll get maybe I could do a.
I mean, it's pretty tough because he was the number 1 or number 2 overall kicker recruit.
Now Drew Brown struggled his freshman year.
He did,
but by this time he was also a lot better. He struggled the first 2-3 games, but then he got a lot better. We're not really seeing that from.
They showed it. His long was 35.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he made a 40-yarder or something. Yeah. I'm not sure what it was, the one field goal that he did make. But he missed an extra point.
But I think anything, once we get...
This kid doesn't have any confidence.
We have to be inside the 25-yard line for us to kick it.
Right, and they were talking about it today on the radio. That hasn't really been the kid, other than, like you said, Drew Brown he was a kicker for 4 years. Yeah. So he did struggle a bit his first year, but for decades, we haven't really had to worry about. No. We had...
Maher. We had Browns, we had Maher, we had
Alex Henry. I mean,
so
it's pretty tough to. And I didn't even think about this kicking thing. You got this kicking thing in my head now?
Yeah, but it's killer. But so the first half we actually did pretty good. So we got some questions. We'll answer right now. So one, McKenna mentioned, why us? We're not Kansas. Why us? Like, why is this happening?
Right.
And it sucks. It really does. I don't have the answer. I really don't.
When the game got over, I go to. Well, what are Matt and I going to talk about? And I honestly, I don't know. I didn't know. Like, I didn't know what to say about the game.
Yeah, it was really tough.
You can say good things here and there. You can say bad things here and there. One thing I will say is the defense gave up 14 points in 57 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was 21 points on the board before that, but that was a strip sack, fumble, touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think...
If you would have like you said, you told me before the game, hey, the defense is only going to give up 14 points in 57 minutes. You would have been like, yeah. Let's roll with that.
Yeah. And that's just the way it
went.
The
problem is the offense, while flashy and good at times, is not being consistent enough right now.
No.
They're great, but you can only, do so much. And then when you're punting the ball away or going 3 and out, the defense finally has a good stand or plays a good game.
Yep.
But you're not helping them out. Now, we did score more points than we have, but it was not consistent enough for me, and that's why I think probably lost us the game. Now you can blame the defense for giving up 10 points in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I understand that. But when the offense got the ball to kill the clock to win the game, 3 runs, nothing, you got to punt.
And to me, that's the biggest thing. So we got cornerbacks who, I think we have some good corners. We have good corners and good safeties. I think they have talent. We got beat by Nagel, though. Nagel was a thorn on our side, and he's good. He hurt us last year. You mentioned that. He hurt us last year. He had 12 receptions for 220 yards. That kills us. But
that's crazy.
And Aaron Williams is a safety.
And he did not play very well.
And he had a rough game. That was his worst game.
Well,
he's actually played
because
well.
Nagel was going into the slot, and they're having him cover him out of that, and he was that wasn't working.
No.
We needed to change something, and we didn't.
No.
And the guys I was watching the game with were very upset about this.
Yeah.
Very vocal about this.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Like, we see it as people watching the game. We see the mistakes that are being made on the field, but you have to look at it. And Frost pointed it out too after the game. It's the players aren't missing assignments. They are not blowing coverage most of the time, especially on that last drive where they went up tying it. It was the coverage itself. It was the defense that was being called. He called out Shenander without actually saying his name.
Right.
Was saying that we didn't do the job as far as the play call because we played a very soft zone and a prevent D when they had 99 yards to go, and they already killed us through the air. That touchdown that I believe gave them the lead was a 61-yard, or was that where they the 61-yard touchdown for Nagel?
That was the one that took the lead, wasn't it?
Was that the one that gave him the 14-13?
14-7?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because then, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, really, he killed us, but. Our corners, yes, we have to recruit cornerbacks, and
we are.
Yeah, and the play that we had, does it hurt us in recruiting? I don't know. That's
and
a really
they
tough.
They had somebody on today that was talking about recruiting, and it might be a little bit of we might be hurting right now because we are 0-6.
Yeah.
Like to some, especially like people like fans and stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, I mean. These kids are going to want to come play because they're going to be able to play right away, and they're going to, want to help the program get back to where we want it to be and all that. Mm-hmm. But to some, especially 18-year-old kids, they might not want to go to a place that's 0-6.
Yeah.
Or whatever the final record ends up being.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. I think our recruiting trail is tough. Now, we had a really good recruiting class coming in. They pointed out that we lost 20 guys this year.
Right, we did.
But they also pointed out that that's not abnormal. Like, we lost 3 guys that were even worth a name, and that was Avery Roberts, Jebbia, and then
Tyjon Lindsay.
Oh, yeah, Greg Bell and Tyjon Lindsay.
Okay,
so 4.
4.
So 4. But
Avery Roberts never really played, though.
No.
He never really did anything.
And they were all,
he was a highly recruited player.
But they were all Riley recruits. So I don't see that as a big deal because that happens to every program every year. You just don't hear a ton about it. It's not as big of a deal. But I see our first half. I see that we played pretty well. And Brandon, we'll get to that 4th and 1 in OT. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
But really, first half, we played a lot of. I thought our corners and safeties played pretty well in the one-on-one coverage. Soft zone is where we got beat.
We played good D in the first half, and I mean it's to be expected.
Yeah.
Adjustments get made at halftime, just like we want to make adjustments. They're making adjustments too.
Yeah.
And so they're changing some things so that they, but all in all, I thought the defense played better. Now, that last 3 minutes is a different story.
Yeah.
But I think the offense just needs to get a little bit more. It's either like 3 and out, or we have like an awesome drive. It's not like, you get a few first downs, maybe you get stalled out at the 50, and you can pin them.
Yeah.
We're either giving them good field position, or we're actually doing something.
Yeah, when they're starting positions anywhere from the 30 to the 40-yard line, that means we are not moving the ball.
And when we get a turnover, and then you only get in and maybe kick a field goal, or they do an onside kick, and I know we were trying to either run out the clock or make them take their timeouts. You get the ball on their side of the field to start.
We got to convert to points.
You got to move it a little bit. Even, like I said, even if you just do a quick pass to Stanley or a quick pass to J.D. Spielman, swing pass, screen pass, whatever, that keep them in bounds. They get 5 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just running it right at them 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, really, that first half, 14-13, we missed the extra point. That killed us too. I mean, that...
And that was fine.
He missed a field goal and he missed an extra point.
Right.
I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, we left 4 points on the board.
Right.
That 1 point, that's the difference in the game.
Well...
That 1 point...
It was, but we went for 2 and the next... When we scored
yeah, and they could have gone for 2 as well. But still, that 1 point...
We went for 2 and Martinez kept it and got it.
Yeah.
So that made up for it. But I'm with you. I mean, that field goal could be the difference. You're up by 13.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's...
With 3 minutes left, then they got to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You stop, you make them go, instead of kicking that field goal with 2 minutes left, they end up having to go for it and you stop them or at least take more time off the clock.
And really, we came out good in the second half. We started off, our defense started off well in the second half.
Yeah, I think we got
a stop.
We got 3 and out right away.
It may not have been a 3 and out, but we did get a stop. So I think that was good. I mean, I was excited for the second half because we got that stop. I'm like, we need to stop. We need to get the ball. We need to score.
Cam Taylor went in.
Cam Taylor
was playing pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, once again, I think he's someone to look out for. I wish I would have seen him more on the field. I think he can make a bigger impact.
Yeah.
But I still think he was injured a couple weeks ago, so I think he's still kind of getting back to being 100%.
And man, how tough is that? They talk about how Juergens, they move him to offensive line.
And then he breaks
the bone in his foot on Monday.
That sucks, yeah. So I was
forward. To me, it's
that's
fine.
Just bad luck.
To me, it's fine because I think he needs to probably put on a little bit of weight. We've talked about it.
Yep.
We run up, either wanting to run up tempo. We need guys that can do that.
Absolutely.
He doesn't need to put on that much weight.
No.
He can do that.
We need the speed. We need speed and we need strength.
And now, maybe he comes, I think they said he's going to be out a month. He comes back and maybe he gets in the last few games.
Yeah.
Because he can still be a redshirt if he plays 4 games.
Yeah.
And then he's, good to go for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so Brandon asked about the 4th and 1 in OT. So,
okay.
So Brandon, I mean, if you remember, it was actually 4th and 6 because we had the false start.
Yeah.
So the false start, they asked Scott Frost today in his press conference. You had the false start, and he said that was a big mistake by Farmer and by Martinez. Farmer actually,
because they call it on Martinez, but
so Martinez, he said the music was still playing.
Okay.
That was his. That's what he was saying, and so Farmer actually did his job. It was Martinez that didn't, because the ball was supposed to be snapped, and when it wasn't, we had a guy move. So either way, it wasn't a mistake. It happens, but that moved us back to then 3rd and 6. Do you kick a field goal or do you go for it on 4th down? I mean, that is.
I've heard.
We had the rough snap. It was a bad snap. Ultimately, you had 2 back-to-back plays there.
It's just really, and this is how it's been all year.
But it was 4th and 1. It moved to the 4th and 6, right?
The times, yeah. So the times that these things have happened has been in like the absolute worst times for it to happen.
Yep.
And same thing, like I was talking about the offense. Like, for the most part, they're pretty. Or even. I'll take that a different way. The defense plays well when the defense does do something, or make a mistake or this or that. It's at like the worst times, and then that's the difference. That's what's killing us. That's the reason why we're at 1-6.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. So like on that play, that 4th and 1, it sucks because if you kick it, at least you have a chance to stop them. Right? You have a chance to stop them.
I agree with that.
Without the false start, who knows what play we had dialed up. I bet it was a run with the Zigbo. Well, I would hope so, fingers crossed, because the Zigbo rushed for 159 yards and 2 TDs. Once again, feed a Zigbo. The guy has been stellar ever since he started running the ball like he has. And like you said, Brandon, you kick it, at least you have a chance to tie.
I agree with that. However...
But it's hard.
It's really very easy to say that. But then, okay, let's say you kick it and he misses it. Then it's very easy to say, well, it was just 4th and 1. You could have just gone for it.
But that's football.
Agreed.
That's the thing. It's football. You can't.
Your kicker hasn't been that good, so it would have been. You should have probably just gone for it. Either gotten closer or tried to score.
Yeah.
My thing was the kid didn't have any confidence in the game. He missed a field goal and an extra point.
But then he had a field goal to get us up by 10.
He did.
So yeah, I mean, in that field goal, so he gets us up by 10. Gets us up by 10, and it's 31-21. We're up by 10. I'm feeling pretty good still. I'm like, hey, we're good. They get the ball back, and what happens? They convert 2 4th and 10s on that drive.
On that field goal drive?
Yes, 2 4th and 10s. That makes it 31-24. And then we get the ball back. We have 3 really, really soft runs. Our O-line didn't block. It's like they gave up. O-line didn't block. They brought the pressure. We had 3 really crappy runs. 1 to Stanley, I believe, and then 2 with the Zigbo. Awful play calling if he has.
So, 2 things there. 1, that goes back to me saying defense inopportune times.
Yep.
Give up 4th and 10 on a drive. Mm-hmm. You get a stop there, you probably end up winning the game.
Absolutely.
The other thing, these offensive linemen that they have played every snap. All 5 offensive linemen played all 84 snaps, or whatever it was. That means the guys behind them obviously are not that good.
0 depth.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a problem.
Yes.
That is probably the biggest problem.
Yes, that's killer. It really is, and that's.
And another thing, I heard somebody talking about these, and you've talked about it. The defensive players, defensive linemen, linebackers, whatever they're doing when they're bringing pressure, they're just falling right in there.
Yeah. They're
not trying to do swim. The one time Luke Gifford does a swim move, gets a sack.
Yeah. Yeah, and we dialed up the pressure, but we waited until the 4th.
Yeah. We
waited until the 4th quarter.
And I don't get it because make them beat you. I mean, we're not dialing up pressure, and they're still beating you.
Yeah.
So I mean, at least bring some pressure or something.
Yeah. So Dalton asked, what do you feel are realistic expectations for our coordinators? Meaning, when do we start hearing about them being replaced? Do you believe they're on the same timetable as Frost? No.
No, they aren't for sure because Frost signed a 7-year contract and these coaches signed a 3-year contract.
Yes, I don't. And here's my thought, especially on Shenander. I think as far as his timeline is if midway through next year, I think he's here the entire year. They're not going to get rid of him that fast.
No, and he'll be here next year. They're not going to get rid of him.
But I think midway of next year, if we don't see improvement on the defense, I think he's gone. I really do. I hate to say it. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great person.
Well,
I think he has. But UCF, that was the biggest question.
Right.
With
That's what I was gonna say.
UCF was they gave up a lot of points, but they scored a ton of points.
Right, and it was kind of like a high risk, high reward. Get turnovers. They got guys at skill positions defensive back positions that can get interceptions, and then they have guys blitzing so they can get sacks. I mean, you saw with Shaquem Griffin, he got a lot of sacks.
Yeah.
They're, that type of thing.
But you got to look at a few different things. We still have a lot of guys that have been recruited that aren't playing yet.
There's a lot of freshmen.
So you got
a lot of guys either redshirting or aren't going to see much time.
And a lot of commits that are supposed to be pretty good. So we still have. I think the defense has time, but I still think midway through next year, if we don't see improvement on defense, the Big Ten is different from the MAC. The MAC scores a lot of points.
The American Athletic.
Sorry, not the MAC. The American Athletic, they score AAC. They score a lot of points. And that is where is a big difference between what we see now. In the big, there's a lot of run. There's typically not a lot of pass plays. 64 passes in that game from Thorson. I said it last week. Thorson's not a runner because his injury last year. He's not going to run the ball.
And then they had Larkin out, so their starting running back is retired from football. So obviously they were going to be passing the ball a lot.
Yeah, but 64. So Kyle, we'll get to your question about the Minnesota game this next week. But I still think our coordinators and our defensive back coach, they have a little bit of time. But I think even with an 0-6 start, they still have time to get some guys in there. If we don't see improvement midway through next year after week 6, week 7, you may see some changes pretty quick.
And it's tough. It's a good question, Dalton. I like that. Because it is tough. I mean, you want to give them some time to get established.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a tough spot. How much time do you give them?
Yeah.
Because if you just start firing people all the time and bringing new people in, then these players that have now been working in this thing for a year, now you're okay. Well, now they have somebody else, and now things are changing. Yeah. And that's what they've been doing. That's what we've been doing for the last 20 years.
Yeah. It gets tough. It gets hard.
How quickly do you want to do that, or do you want to let these freshmen that we have, a lot of freshmen, or guys that are redshirting? Yeah. Do you want them to learn something so that 3, 4, 5 years, 3, 4 years from now?
Yeah,
they can they can master or they can be good at.
And so Russ, you mentioned we need to allow them a chance to put in their schemes give them a chance with their players that they've recruited. And I think that is. Yeah. I think Bill Moose. I think his outlook is that you have to give the coaches a chance.
And I think
to get their guys
we're there, and I think people are there more so than I thought. And there are people that are freaking out, but
it's hard.
Like, we knew this wasn't going to change overnight.
No.
And you can't just bring Frost in and trust him to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And then just start firing people within a year.
Yeah. And it's his
staff. It's not starting great.
They got a good chemistry.
Yeah. That's why he brought his whole staff.
Yeah. And Frost, if he's calling the plays on offense, he's got some improvement to do as well. But
Agreed.
Once again, he came from the AAC, high scoring, high tempo, coming to the Big Ten, a lot different.
Better defense.
Better defense.
Bigger
run games.
Bigger players.
Bigger
offensive linemen. Bigger
Midwest
defensive
guys.
linemen. Yeah.
So, McKenna, you've asked me about recruiting over and over again, and it's a solid question because, yes, we're not going to get those guys in Texas and Oklahoma like we used to. It's going to be tougher, a lot tougher to get them.
We're getting some Texas guys. We're getting some Georgia guys, which is where we need to be.
But it's going to be harder. We have to start winning to keep getting those guys.
Agreed.
If we don't start winning, we're going to dry up real fast.
Right.
And the guys the teams that are going to get those guys are going to be the ones that are going to be winning championships. It's not going to be Nebraska. So we have to start winning to get the guys in Texas and Oklahoma, those big burly guys. We have a lot of in-state recruits too. I think we need to do more high school recruiting here because Nebraska high school football is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. It's no Texas,
right?
But it is really good, and there's a lot of in-state recruits we can go after.
Well, the number one kid, last year, the number one, and Frost tried to get him, but he was too late by the time he got here. Defensive tackle, he goes to Wisconsin.
Yep.
I mean, that's not just, we lost the kid. We lost him to a team in our division that wins it every year. We can't let that happen.
That's the sword right to the kidneys. I mean, that hurts. And that's where Frost wants to improve that culture. He's talking about in-state. He's talking about not only walk-ons. The walk-on program in the 90s was fantastic. That needs to improve. It's not what you rely on.
Which we did get. We did get some in-state guys to walk on in Frost's first recruiting class here. But again, he came in so late for that.
Yes.
I wouldn't even really call it a recruiting class. The first recruiting class. I mean, it was, and actually he did better than most people probably would.
Yeah.
So we got Maurice Washington.
Yes, absolutely. So Jason Huntington is an Iowa fan. Right. He commented on here, said, keep up the good work. The wins are coming. He knows it.
Jason, come drink beer with us sometime, bro.
So Dan mentioned, they still have a lot of issues to fix, including coaching blunders. Absolutely. Play calling after we got that onside kick was horrible. Absolutely. Yes. We get a first down, game's over. I texted a couple people, I'm like, we need a first down, game is over. But we held back, and we did.
But that's happened a few different times this year.
Yeah. So he mentioned a train wreck. If you want to explain what happened, it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
It was. We up 14 points and we blew it.
We're up by time.
Well, no, we were up 20. We were up 28-14, and then we blew it.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
But either way,
it was 28-14.
Surely there's a kid in Nebraska that can kick a field goal. I agree. I think there is. I think we'll get him. We do have an in-state Nebraska walk-on. But like I said, he's just not there yet.
I mean, Alex Henry was a soccer player at Burke.
Yeah. And I think the other kid, he's from Burke or Northwestern. I think the other kid that we have that's a walk-on. He's Northwest. Yeah. So, anyways, someone asked earlier about Noah Vedral.
That was kind of weird, right before the game.
Yeah.
I think it's good because if we do need him to go in and play for a few games, he can still play 4 games and get a red shirt.
And Frost mentioned that today. He said, listen, he's like, yes, he's ready. He said, I don't blame the NCAA. Like, they did their due diligence.
Yeah, it took a while.
They didn't do
it would have been nice to have for the Troy game because we probably would have won.
Yeah, so they didn't do anything wrong in their decision, but now that we have him, he's an option to play in some games. They still want to keep his red shirt, though. So we know we're going to see him. We know we're going to see him. We have 6 games left, so he can play in 4 of them. Right. So will that be Ohio State? Is it going to be Iowa? I think it's going to be kind of dependent on how our offense is going.
Or do you maybe play him in the Bethune-Cookman game, just, you're not wanting to get Adrian Martinez hurt?
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or, maybe they split time or that. I do apologize if you guys hear the squeaking that is going on. My puppy is playing with some chew toys just right at the top of the stairs.
But yeah, I mean, I think we have the in-state recruiting. We have what it takes to do well here. our recruiting, we have to start winning to increase that recruiting field.
Yeah.
And we had a good recruiting class. I think we still have a good recruiting class going in 2019 and 2020. We already have some guys coming in.
Right. I mean, we need to keep those guys. I mean, we need to win to probably keep some of them.
Yeah, and we know what Frost can do. I mean, he did it at Oregon. UCF, I mean, dude, a ton of speed.
He did it at Northern. I mean, even when he was just like a wide receivers coach at Northern Iowa, they were good. I mean, that's why it's been so crazy. Yeah. He's been good everywhere he's coached. So I mean, again, it's just going to take a little time, a little bit more time than we thought.
Time and patience, and I think you see. Once again, a lot of people expected Scott Frost. A lot of people are calling him the Messiah, the savior of Nebraska. Listen, it's still not going to happen.
The prodigal son returning home.
And that was a lot of media, and he doesn't buy into that crap. He's like, I don't want to be a celebrity. He doesn't. He wants to do his job in the locker room, in the field, to get those guys ready for the game.
And it's tough. I mean,
and he said it was good.
Nebraska, it's tough because you pretty much are a celebrity.
He said a very good bounce back this week of practice. He said, after a loss, last thing I want is these guys to get used to losing and okay with losing, but I want to see the rebound on how they do with that rebound in the next practice. And that's one thing he said today. The practice was really good. Once again, the question's asked every week, how was practice? It was the best practice we've had.
Right.
People get sick of hearing that, but the reporters keep asking it, so he's going to answer it.
And honestly,
he's not Bo.
That's probably true. They probably are the best practice. I mean, because they're getting better. You've seen it over the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
The team's better.
Yeah, and so, and Dalton, you can definitely join us next week. We'll be here.
All right.
We'll be here. We'll have, I guess we'll add some Bush into the flavor here.
Yeah, that's what I used to drink, but I don't know.
We'll add
These
some
are
Bush.
Cheap.
But yeah, I mean, I think Vedral, he's gonna play. He's gonna play a few games. We're gonna see him get into 4 games. He's gonna do the 4 games.
It could just be, like we said, the offense fires out of the chute, and then they stall out a little bit. Maybe you throw them in there, mix it up, and just try to throw a wrinkle in there or something.
Yeah, I mean,
try to spark the offense.
Yeah, so I think really we did drop the ball this last week. We did. We screwed up, and I think the biggest thing to me that stood out in that screw up was the onside kick and what we did after that. That was the one thing I said, we need a first down, otherwise we are going to give them the ball back with 2 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, I can't remember a time where somebody tried an onside kick against us, and we got it, and still ended up losing the game.
But then what happened on the punt? We pinned them at the 1 yard line, and I'm like, boom.
I know.
Game's over.
With just all that sequence of things, aside from them getting 2 4th and 10 conversions on that one drive, everything was like, okay, we're up 10.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're still up 7. They do an onside kick. Okay, well, we got the ball.
And
okay, we didn't get it, but we pinned him at the 1.
I was like, no way.
And then you get a 15-yard roughing the pass on the first play.
I don't know if anyone at the game saw that or anyone watching TV, what your thoughts are, but my thought is that's a bogus penalty. And we'll talk about penalties in a second.
I was going to say.
I'm sure you talked to your dad about that one. Maybe
I didn't talk to him about it.
But to me, that was a bogus call. I think, who was it? Was one of the Davis boys. I think Khalil Davis came in on that hit.
There was one of them, Carlos.
I think Carlos or Khalil, one of them came in. I thought it was a great hit. Really good pressure. He was being held at the time of the hit or just got off a hold when he hit him. His hand was up in the air. He didn't come down and hit him. His hand was just up here and hit him in the helmet. This ain't the NFL. Like, the NFL is getting really soft on the quarterbacks.
Right. Because those guys are worth $120 million.
If college starts getting soft on quarterbacks, NCAA football is going to lose a lot of fans, just like the NFL is. They're losing, their ratings have gone down every year because of the way they're calling penalties. And I think it's going to get worse for NCAA football if they do that as well. And that call was piss poor in my mind because that gave him 15 yards after an incompletion.
After an incompletion. That was a big thing.
Yes. And so, Kyle, we'll touch on penalties here in a second, Kyle. What do you have to say?
So, I get it. Going into the game, Northwestern only had like 16 penalties all season. They're one of the least penalized teams. We are the most. We're the most.
And there's one more that has, their average.
Or close.
Their average is 10.7, ours is 10.2.
Okay. Well,
so
we were close to the bottom, whatever. So, I don't know if then the referees just decide, hey, we got to be keeping an eye out because they're a very penalized team.
Yeah.
But at one point, we had 8 for 89 yards, and they had 0. That's not.
I think at some point we
that's
had.
Not
I
acceptable.
think at some point we had 10 or 11.
And I'm not even one to. Like we've talked about it before. I'm not one to really, blame the refs or anything like that. But you're gonna tell me that we had 8, and I know we had 3 right off the bat. We had a penalty before we even ran a play, and then we had a holding on that first drive, and then we kicked the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
But
those didn't hurt us.
No, and I don't think aside from the roughing the passer one, I don't know that too many. Well.
They ended up calling a hold.
Boodle had one where he didn't turn around because he does.
Aaron Williams had a couple pass interference calls. We had a hold. There was a hold on it was Williams or Boodle. Williams or Reed. I can't remember who, but I think it was either on the field goal drive or the final drive. They didn't show a replay, and I'm like, where's my replay? Because I'm like, I didn't see a hold on the play, but once again, we don't have the wide view. But either way, these were not undisciplined penalties.
Right.
These were not the terrible holding because we're getting beat. These were
hit out of bounds for no reason.
Yeah, hit out of bounds. These weren't the 15-yarders, but still we had way too many penalties in the game. But if you look at, and Kyle, I'm with you. I saw holding on their line.
Oh yeah.
Way more than once. And yes, I mentioned last week our guys need to learn how to kind of pull away from those holds. Right. There was multiple times I saw our jerseys being pulled. More than once, especially on that final drive. 64 passes. You can't tell me that there's
not holding on one play. Because the only penalty they got was a delayed game or a false start.
False start.
They did not have a holding penalty.
Yes.
You're gonna throw the ball 64 times
and without a hold. And in the second half, we brought a lot more pressure. So did it determine the game? You have no idea, and the rest typically don't. But I thought for them to only have one penalty as a false start, I was so mad about that.
And I mean, you can't excuse a 10-point,
10-point deficit.
No. A 10-point lead with 3 minutes left, giving that up. But
so at least I really don't. They're not as bad as what we've seen in the past. Yes, I understand you're upset to see all these penalties, but these were not undisciplined like we've seen in the past. With our special teams was much better.
He's changed punters. He was great.
Our new punter is fantastic.
He had one bad one, but it ended up rolling and not being too bad.
But Lightbourne wasn't that bad either. He really wasn't. But we need to change, something on special teams. And
I think they changed a lot, which is good.
Yeah. So McKenna worried about recruiting with the bad results. I don't know anyone else to say.
Agreed.
Absolutely. We have to start winning games, and I think this weekend is that one time where we have to win this game. Frost play calling, it sucked. He's more interested in the wide receivers. Run game. I mean, look at our run game and what we've been able to do with Zigbo. Mo Washington, he got hurt on one of his first runs.
He hurt his hand.
He did end up coming in and have a couple good runs after that. So I think we get those two guys mixed in the game. I would like to see Wyatt Mazur and more. I want to see him run the ball.
Right.
We know he's good. Even though we saw him play in a fourth quarter and we were already getting beat. But I think we get those 3 guys involved. Mo Washington in the pass game.
Yeah.
We saw it last week. I think we see more of that. And those wheel routes, we can be more successful as well.
And I guess, I'm not sure exactly, but, where was Stanley? Yeah. I mean, he caught one ball early, but I don't know that he had maybe 1 or 2 catches.
Yeah, and that was asked already too. Is Stanley Morgan? We need to get him more involved. Absolutely. J.D. Spielman, awesome.
He's great,
but Stanley Morgan is equally as good. So maybe we don't see. Maybe he's getting double covered. Maybe
that's what I mean. That's why I don't know if probably you would think that their best defensive back would be either on Morgan or Spielman.
Yeah.
Maybe their best back is on Morgan, and that's why Spielman's able to get so many catches for so many yards.
Maybe.
But we need to figure something out so we can get him the ball.
But then we still do have other guys that can catch the ball. Our tight ends were a little bit more involved this last weekend.
A little bit.
I think we still need to increase that involvement as we move forward because I think with what's his name?
Are you talking about Williams or what?
Our tight end, the guy that caught a touchdown pass last weekend.
Stoll.
Jack Stoll.
Jack
Stoll, get him involved. Brandon Reimers. Man, we've barely seen him. But I know they kind of put him out at wideout instead of tight end.
I think he's been a receiver for the last couple of years. I don't know if they moved him over.
That's right. But I think he's big enough to be a tight end position. But we have to get them more involved in not only the block game on the pass rush, but if they're blocking, we need to get them to block and go out on a route too.
Right.
We need to get them more involved. There was a lot of talk ahead of the season on how the tight ends are so good and how they're one of the best core on that team. But
how
do you get them more involved in?
There's a couple guys that either maybe they're planning to redshirt, or maybe they're just not there yet.
Yeah.
So they're going to redshirt. That could be good next couple of years. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so McKenna mentioned, you're done with the defense coordinator. I get it. It's frustrating to see some of those big plays that they're getting against our defense, but I still think Nebraska's going to give them time. They're going to give time for the recruits to come in, and it sucks, but we have to give them time. We have to give Frost time. We have to give the offense time.
Yeah, I mean,
we still have a true freshman, 18-year-old quarterback.
When most of the core of your defense is not freshmen, they're upperclassmen that are not, they're Riley's guys.
Yeah.
And you're trying to teach them. They're trying to learn. Some of these guys are trying to learn the third scheme.
Their third scheme
in college.
Yeah.
I mean,
but still, we have. It's not. I saw an article today. It's not talent that we lack. It is the adjustments that we lack, and I think that comes from coaching too. True. We have to make the adjustments that happen. We haven't done that to the max effort yet. We have not gotten there yet. But you see the shift. You see more players disciplined on the sidelines, on the field. We're not seeing the stupid penalties anymore. We're seeing penalties, but not stupid penalties.
Man, it was tough.
And there's still a lot of them.
They showed Scott at the end of the third quarter.
Man,
he was on the
him
field
and Morgan were going back and forth.
And you're just like, oh man, we're going to win this game.
Well, we were up by 14 at that point. Emphasis on recruiting. So I think recruiting moving forward, we know offense, defensive line.
Yes.
The biggest difference, and Max, we're drinking Bud Light now.
We drink whatever.
We will drink whatever.
We were drinking Old Style a couple weeks ago.
We drank Old Style a couple weeks ago. We'll drink IPA. We'll drink. If you're going to come join the show, we'll drink whatever you bring or whatever we provide. You're going to drink it. But we think recruiting, offensive line, defensive line. We know our line really needs to improve. Also, the other part that needs to improve, I think, is our defensive backs.
Yeah.
We know our wide receivers and our running backs. I don't think we're going to dry up there. I really don't, because we always get good running back, good receivers.
Even like a Zigbo, he was like a 3-star guy that was, never really that. And he's been great. He's been good. Yeah, he's at Texas. He's never really been like that highly touted. He's great. Yeah, he's got a heart of gold, man.
So I mentioned on Twitter, actually, if you guys follow us, we are on Twitter as well. I mentioned that he reminds me of Monty Cross. I've said this more than once. He's one of those guys.
He's probably better than Cross.
Well, Cross was definitely. Cross, hope you're not watching.
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
But Cross is one of those guys you get in the trenches. You know he's going to bust through the pile. He's going to get those short yardage gains. But if he breaks away, he's not just going to break away for a few more yards. He's going to keep breaking away. Yeah. He had the speed, but he wasn't the guy you relied on for speed.
Yeah. I think Zigbo's got a little bit more speed because he lost a little bit of weight.
I think he has more speed.
That's really it.
He has more speed, but he can also bust through. And once he gets through, he can break away a little bit faster as well. So he is a workhorse. He's one of those guys, you give the ball, he's going to do whatever he has to do to get that first down. And Mo Washington will as well, but he has the speed. Zigbo has the size and the strength. So I think really we need to focus on our offensive line, our defensive line. Farniok is still struggling on that outside. He is. I don't think, and once again, you can say talent, yes, but I think strength. He's like 6'6", 330. The dude's huge.
I know.
So he lacks footwork. He lacks the strength. He's getting beat every game. So I think we can improve on our offensive line big time, and everyone should know that. Foster, love his attitude. Is he the greatest lineman? No,
probably not.
Farmer, Foster and Farmer, they're great guys,
and I think they bought in. They just
they're 100% bought in.
Yeah,
the last couple of years they've been on the Huskers. You see what has happened with that culture and the lack of accountability in the weight room, lack of accountability on strength and speed. And we don't see that from our offensive line. So I think we need to recruit offensive linemen that are fast, but also big. You see Northwestern, you see Wisconsin, you see Michigan. These guys, their guards and their tackles can pull out and get in front of the running backs to make blocks. Our guys can't do that.
Right.
We're behind. Our tight ends are behind. Our offensive line's behind.
Well, and when you're going up tempo, I mean, I don't think that we're even anywhere near where they want to be for up tempo. But when you're going up tempo for 3.5 quarters, when you get down to the end, these guys are tired. Mm-hmm. Because they're not those types of players, which is tough.
Yeah, so, but really, offense, defense, I think both on the line we need to focus on.
We need to get some pass rush.
Defensive backs.
Even if you're wanting to bring in some outside linebackers or something to get a pass rush.
And we're
defensive backs.
We're all about the JUCOs right now.
And I think that's pretty much their focus. I mean, I think that's what it's been pretty much. I mean, once they came in, they knew.
Yeah.
Once right away, they knew what they needed to do.
Yeah.
But you can't just snap your fingers and have it, even if you do bring guys in, they're freshmen.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna put an emphasis on the JUCOs. We know that they already started doing that. You asked about the last 2 minutes. We talked about that and what happened in the last 2 minutes of the game. Well, soft coverage. We played a prevent D rather than a man-to-man D. We didn't double cover Nagel. Should have done that. There's a lot of things. We need another Dominic Raiola. Holy cow! We need another Raiola. We need another Sue. We need another.
Levante Davis, best player.
Gifford had a really good game.
He did, and like you said last week, are they maybe using him in the wrong place? I saw him kind of moving around, and then he goes in and gets a sack, at least one, maybe two.
Yeah.
He blitzed the edge and went in untouched and got a sack.
But we waited until the fourth quarter. We waited a long time to bring that pressure. So I think there's a lot of things we can do to improve.
There was one thing I heard somebody say today: the tackling was better.
Yeah.
Especially like open field or anything like that. Like
Eric Reed had two back-to-back open field tackles. Antonio Reed, two back-to-back tackles in the open field.
Yeah.
One was right after the guy caught the ball, and then that set up a 3rd and 2.
And we stopped him or something.
And we stopped him. They got 1 yard. But he back-to-back tackles. He was on the second tackle. Antonio Reed has great closing speed, but that has improved from what we've seen in the past. We've seen a lot of really good open field tackles that we haven't seen in the past. A Gregory, we need another Gregory.
Gosh, yeah.
Absolutely. I think there's so many things.
Just need all these players to be on the same team at the same time.
Yes, and I think we'll get there. I really do, and I think it's going to take time. Defense, yes, it's going to take time, and it sucks to see us blow a 14-point lead when we really probably shouldn't. And then with 2 minutes left, to let them go down and really come down and score on us like that with 2 minutes left in the game. Minute 47, they were at 99 yards in minute 47. That's hard. I mean, that's one thing that you take that friggin' sword and you jab it in your heart because that hurt.
Yep.
I had somebody I know that was actually at the game, and she said, I could care less about Huskers. She went with her husband to the game. She said, I could care less, and that hurt. She doesn't care about football at all. And she was at the game, and she goes, that one hurt a lot.
So for the rest of us that are...
Yeah, and our DB, so there was actually a pass interference in that game where Williams got called on, where his head was turned.
Right.
He was turned to the left, and he knocked it down.
I think...
And it was underthrown.
That's the problem.
It was underthrown.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
There was 2 that they called, and it was because they were both underthrown. And one might have been...
One was definitely pass interference.
One, I think he had hooked his arm around him, which is fine. But... I mean, it's not fine, but the call was fine.
The other one I thought was 50-50 because it was underthrown.
And that sucks. That happens.
He turned his head. He did hit the ball himself, but because it was underthrown, the guy was falling away from the ball too. I thought that was questionable, but it's going to get called 99% of times.
Anytime you underthrow him and the guy's coming back, that's the worst.
Yeah. So McKenna mentioned our defense started well.
They did.
In Northwestern game as well, we started really good. And then we kind of faded.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. And then we kind of faded. So not only are we talking about conditioning, maybe it's conditioning as well. As we need to be better conditioned to get to that 3rd and 4th quarter with the Aaron Williams and the Lee Jr. Jackson had a better game. Lamar Jackson played much better.
I think he still got burned once, which he always does. But
thanks, Max.
He did actually.
He had a good pass breakup, even though the ball was underthrown.
The ball was underthrown,
but he still broke it up.
Yeah, he was a little better.
But I think, our defense, we have good starts to the games, and we need to. And what I was really excited about is the second half is our offense has been so good in the second half. I was like, oh man, we could score 21, 30 points in the second half. And no big deal, but our offense stalled out. So we got to have some balance where our offense is still able to score points because we know we can score fast.
I know, it's like when the offense stalls out, the defense is playing well, then, when the offense scores, then the defense gives up points. It's like, you got to just get on the same page. But
I really think, Cam Taylor, so McKenna says, I hope Mo Berry will be drafted. I think Mo Berry, Gifford, I think those guys, I think they have a good chance. I think Aaron Williams.
I certainly hope that, Muhammad Berry stays for next year.
Yes. I think
he doesn't try to leave early because he could.
Yeah, I think we have guys that could leave early, but I do think guys like Moberry, Gifford, Williams, Cam Taylor's going to be a good draft pick. He's got obviously 4 years to go, but I think we have guys that can be. Right now, they're being exposed for, hey, we're running a different scheme, and they're not just up to speed yet. But we've seen a lot of good things from them. It needs to be consistent. It needs to last 4 quarters. Yeah. And that's where we're struggling.
And, I think we have Damian Daniels on the defensive line, who I think is going to be very good.
Yes.
So, there is a little promise there if we can keep some of these guys and get some of these freshmen in over the next couple of years to be playing better than what we're seeing, especially with defensive backs.
And to me, it's consistency. Like, it's not like we are failing 4 quarters.
No, I don't
If
think
we
so
can
either.
be consistent for the entire game, for 60 minutes, I think we're going to win more games. And that's to me is the bottom line. We know offense. We know Martinez, Washington, Spielman, Morgan. We know those guys are awesome. We know that Cade Warner is going to be good. We know Woodyard is good. We've seen him on the field. Jack Stoll is good. We have guys. Mike Williams. He had a couple great catches in that game. We are going to get there, and it takes a lot of patience. That's almost gone, Max. But it takes a lot of patience, and it really does. You're talking about a rebuild. A lot of people are going back to, you have Mike Riley, Bo, and you have Frank Solich.
Or Callahan.
And Callahan. Yeah, so Callahan, Solich, Bo. Solich had the right mentality for the culture of the team.
Right. But
and
we just
then
didn't get time.
8-4, bye. Bring Callahan.
9-3.
Callahan's like, peace out. He was terrible. And then you had Bo, who 9-3, 9-3, 9-3, 10-3, 10-2. He had good seasons, but we never won the big games and struggled in bowl games. Mike Riley comes in as off a 5-7 season,
extremely average,
and extremely average, except for the 1 year we had 9 wins, but then we went 4-8. So I still think Minnesota this next week. Let's talk about Minnesota. So they played Ohio State tight. We talked about that. 17-14 at half. Minnesota was actually ahead. They were doing well in that game. Killed them with the second half. They didn't score in the second half. They ended up losing 30-14.
There's your adjustments that you talk about.
Yes.
Ohio State 1.5 made the better adjustments.
But still, even better adjustments. Minnesota, their defensive ends are good. They can rush. Their defensive ends, they're going to beat Farniok. I'm scared about that.
Yeah, agreed.
And they're good at stopping the rush. You got Mike Weber and J.K. Dobbins, and that wasn't the bright spot of their game. It was Haskins. Haskins had to throw the ball to win that game.
Which I think Martinez can do.
Yeah.
And I think we have the weapons that can do that.
Oh, absolutely.
It will be nice if we're able to run.
I
definitely think that we're going to play a better game than we did against them last year.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I hope so. I really do.
Last year they went 5-7, and the highlight of their season was like a 51-14 win over Nebraska.
Yes. So we are a 6-point favorite in that game. I think it might be 4 now.
I thought it opened at 4. I saw it at 4, 4
I think it's fluctuated back and forth, but at one point it was 6. I think it's 4 now. They are, yes, Max, they are ranked lower in every area for us compared to us. I think
we'll beat them.
The one thing we have
But I've also thought that just about every week.
Not every game, but the one thing we have to worry about, I think, is going to be the run game. Nebraska 24/7 Sports is stupid because they posted something today.
They're usually pretty good.
They're usually pretty good, but today they posted about their starting running back getting domestic assault. He's already out for the year. So they're like, Nebraska may not have to worry about the star running back. And no one's concerned about the star running back because he's not playing. So it's Ibrahim as their second string, or now their starter. He ran for 157 yards and 2 TDs against Ohio State. And even in the second half, they didn't score, but he was still running pretty well. So we've struggled on the run game. So they only threw 23 passes, Minnesota did.
See, and maybe that's because we didn't give up very many yards to Northwestern.
Yeah.
So if we can maybe stop the run, make them throw. Yeah. They obviously don't have that much confidence in whatever they got going at quarterback.
Exactly. And Anixstad, he was 13 of 23 for 218 yards, but he threw 2 interceptions. No TDs, but 2 interceptions.
We need to get some TDs.
We did have 2 interceptions. We had 2 turnovers.
Yes.
Boom. And I said, anybody that follows us on Twitter, I did mention on Twitter that we're going to have a couple turnovers that game against Northwestern because they're going to rely on the pass game. And we got 2 interceptions. Not that we won the game, but we did. I agree. I think so. Oh, holy cow. Catch on a comment. So, yeah, concerned about Shenander. Absolutely. I think that's the biggest concern for everybody right now is our defensive scheme. We have the 3-4. I'm not sold on the 3-4 in our conference just because of the run game, the heavy run game.
And we saw it last year.
Heavy linemen on the other side. We got to run a 4-3.
But, we're running a 3-4, and then they're throwing the ball 60 sometimes.
Yes.
And it's still working.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Either you got to bring a rush, or
you got to do a 4-3. Because if we're only rushing 3 guys, we're getting 0 pressure. And then we dial it up and we rush 5 or 6, and then we get screwed on the pass game. So if you have a 4-3, at least you only have to rush maybe 1 or 2 extra guys, but you still have 5, 6 guys in the back depending on how many you rush. So I think a 4-3 would work a lot better for us, personally on defense. And it's just that 3-4 is not good for the Big Ten because of the run game. We give up so much.
The big offensive lineman.
And the big offensive lineman. We can't. A 3 against 5 is not going to win. A 3 against 4 is not going to win the conference. It's not. I think maybe we need to change that. But we're not coaches. We're not in charge of it. But those are things that should be seen. Not only.
Yeah, I mean they're seeing more than we are. They're seeing more than everybody is. And one thing I will make a mention of: don't go on to pages and different things and post negative comments because they. What, you need more?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I should have grabbed 2 more. I'll take one. You grab it. People see that. Recruits see this negativity. We've talked about it before.
Yes.
Just don't do it. So don't do it.
Yeah.
We might say like somebody didn't play very well. That's different than.
Yes.
Well, I might say Lamar Jackson gets burned all the time because he does, but I'm not.
But he's improved.
Yeah, he has, and so don't.
we gotta really be careful.
Don't say too. Yeah, just be careful.
And once again, the recruiting, we know where we're short at, and it's obvious that we lack depth or at least quality depth, if we're not changing the way we do things on offense or defensive line. Which I think is our biggest thing right now. We get more pressure on the quarterback. We block better. We have better plays. We have better success. We're not there yet.
No.
Minnesota, we know that they're going to play a pretty balanced game on throwing and running, but they're rushing. If they can rush for 250 or 157 yards against Ohio State, who has a better defense in my mind. Our rush defense has been good all year.
It's been better.
But we've struggled on the runs up the middle. It's not the outside
and
rush.
It's always in an opportune time.
It's up the middle. So we have to be better. We have to prepare for that run. We should watch film, be prepared for Ibrahim. Anixted's not going to kill us. He's like, he makes me think of Hornibrook. Hornibrook, he's not going to kill you through the air. Most quarterbacks in the Big Ten are not going to kill you in the air. So we need Thorson obviously is an exception right now. Nate Stanley is an exception right now.
Adrian Martinez is probably an exception.
Yes. So I think we have light at the end of the tunnel. I think this weekend, playing Minnesota, I think we come back home. I think we get that first W. I do see a shift. I see a difference from what we saw from Colorado. 7 sacks, yes, but I see a difference between Colorado and the guys we have now to be successsul. And I really think that Minnesota game, the broken bits of chair, that trophy's up for. I've seen it in person. It's pretty cool. But that's up for battle. I think.
I'll be taking a bus down there this weekend for the game.
I think we're gonna win. I think we're gonna win. I'm gonna say Huskers will win that game. I think our rushing offense is gonna be the big difference in that game. Their defensive ends are good, but I think we have to bust those runs up the middle. Mo Washington get the outside. We get some blocking from our receivers. I think we're gonna be just fine.
Yep.
Max, when are we on? Hey, we're on usually every Sunday.
Yeah, we're on Sundays.
We usually do the show every Sunday at 5 p.m. We had a power outage here at Jimmy's yesterday, so we had to cancel the show. But typically 5 p.m. on Sundays, we're going to keep it
Snow in October.
Yeah, snow in October. Not okay. Yeah, and JD has been super impressive. So yeah, Spielman has been very impressive.
I know.
This year.
I'm nervous. I don't want him to leave early.
Yeah, he could be drafted early. We don't know.
His dad's a GM.
At Minnesota.
His uncle is, a college football player and an analyst.
Yeah,
I don't know. He's still a little small, so
I don't see him going early, but you just never know.
I mean, I definitely think we'll have him next year.
Yes.
Certainly hope so. After that, we'll see.
Yeah. Who knows? I think Frost. I don't think going for it in overtime impacted the kicker personally. His confidence was already down. I don't think he kicked him any lower.
No.
I don't know. That's hard to say. That's really hard because I can't get in the head of the kicker.
Yeah,
Pickering, he knows he's struggling. He just has to keep working. He's gonna get better. I can't necessarily give him time, but he's gonna get better. But do we have someone coming in after him that's gonna be better than him? And that very well could happen. We've seen it in a couple games. We've seen it in a couple games already where kickers have been replaced and the backup has been better. We've seen it.
Punters.
Lightborn got replaced. Lightborn wasn't bad, but he's had some really bad kicks this year.
Yeah.
And he gets replaced, and I love our backup. So we'll see. I really think we have a good shot beating Minnesota this week, but we gotta play fundamentally sound football. We can't have those penalties. We really have to do well. We can't.
We got to get some points on the board, get some stops, get some more points on the board, get some stops.
Our offense has to continue doing well.
And then have the offense just, go on a 5-minute drive.
Yeah.
That even if you get 3 points.
Yeah.
Go on a 7-minute drive. Score a touchdown.
Yes. I agree. So Minnesota, we got them coming up. They gave up 3 field goals in that game, so their defense was pretty good. So we're gonna have to be creative. We're gonna have to be creative. You don't see that a lot with Ohio State this year.
Yeah,
if they're one of the elite teams in Minnesota is holding them to 3 field goals and 3 touchdowns, you got a team that's actually playing pretty good defense. So we got to watch film on them and see how we can beat their defense on offense. So Ohio State beat them. Michigan State beat Penn State on a last-second field goal, 19 seconds left in the game. That was pretty wild. Iowa destroyed it.
Wasn't it a touchdown?
Oh, said field? Yeah, touchdown.
Yeah,
sorry.
Touchdown.
Yeah, with 19 seconds left. So McKenna, do you think Frost should have went for it on 4th and short late in the game? Yeah, the 4th and inches. It's one again.
Where was it at? It was on our 40 or something.
We were on their side of the field. We were on their side of the 50. I personally thought we were going to go for it. I really did think we were going to go for it.
But we pinned them, didn't we?
On 4th and inches, I think we kicked that one out of the end zone.
Oh, we might have.
Yeah, that was a different one. I think we should have gone for it, personally. I think with the way Zigbo was playing, we had to dial up a run. Shoot, get in a lineman there or something. Like, we don't have a fullback right now. We don't use a fullback. I really wish we'd go back to the I formation. I don't see it happening, but I would love to have a fullback or at least get maybe a tight end in there, an offset tight end maybe in the backfield to where we run the ball and get a block from him. But a Zigbo could have gotten that. That was inches.
So.
I mean, we're talking about 4 to 6 inches. It was not a yard. It wasn't a yard and a half, 2 yards.
Agreed.
So I think we should have gone for it there. I really do, and I think that they didn't stop our run very well. They really didn't. Our run game was solid all game, 159 yards rushing.
For a Zigbo?
Yeah, for a Zigbo.
I'm not sure how much Washington had, but
Martinez. Yeah, Martinez didn't have a ton, Martinez and Washington didn't have a ton, but I feel like we should have gotten it. I really did. So I was sad about that, but that could have changed the landscape of the game. It really could have.
Yeah.
We chose to punt. It didn't work out in our favor. They ended up getting points off of it. So it is what it is. We got to move on. Got to move on to Minnesota. Maryland, some of the games this next week, let's talk about some of the Big Ten games. I think the Big Ten games are most intriguing this next week. We got number 6 Michigan. Once again, Michigan jumped six spots in the standings from 12 to 6 after beating Wisconsin, who was ranked below them. I was kind of surprised by that.
They beat Wisconsin.
They handled them pretty well.
Yeah, they beat them pretty good.
But anybody knows Wisconsin.
A bunch of teams in front of them lost, so I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I get it, but a little surprised by that. But
they beat us up. I mean, that's definitely the best team we played.
They play Michigan State now.
And Michigan State just beat Penn
Michigan
State.
just beat Penn State. So Michigan State's kind of one of those up and down teams.
Yeah, they lose to Northwestern and then they beat Penn State.
And then they beat Penn State. So, but they've had a couple really good games this year. So Michigan State now at number 24. So you got a ranked game, number 6, number 24, playing for the Big Ten. I don't know if Michigan State's going to dial up. I really don't.
It's a pretty big game. I know Michigan's still got to play Penn State, but for Michigan to, for that last week to be real big.
Yeah.
Michigan needs to win. That last week playing Ohio State.
Absolutely.
Is what I mean.
Yeah.
They've got Michigan State and Penn State, and where's that game at?
At Michigan State.
Okay.
Anybody's game. A couple more questions on Nebraska. So yeah, we talked about the series, the last series in the fourth quarter for Nebraska when we ran the ball 3 times. Well, I do believe we conceded on that. I don't think we tried for a first down. Our offensive line didn't push very hard. The plays were very mediocre.
Like I said,
first down steal.
We wanted to make them use their timeouts, which they did.
We did.
But
we still left 2 minutes left on the clock.
It's easy to say after the fact. Because, if you throw the ball, maybe you throw an incompletion and the clock stops and they still have a timeout in their back pocket for that last drive. I think you probably, at that point, you probably try to get a first down to win the game.
Yeah.
Win it with your offense.
Yeah. We get a first down, we win the game.
Don't try to hold them with your defense.
Yep. And that's where I think we failed.
Because I think the offense is better.
And that's where Frost takes the fall on that. If he's playing the call, if he's play calling, that's him right there.
Yeah.
So Nick, you asked, you love Mo Washington, but why would take a Zigbo out for two or three series when he was on a roll?
So it goes back to the same thing Purdue game.
Yeah.
He has 1 carry for 5 yards in the first half.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
Maybe he gets a little dinged up, or I need to take a series off.
Yep.
My foot hurts, my shoulder hurts, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if he was.
I don't think he's that type. I don't think he's that type of player.
Yeah.
I think it's more of the coaches like what they see out of Washington.
Zigbo looks like a grown adult. You see him, it's
yes.
my God, are you a coach?
What I said.
You're huge.
And I should have brought this up earlier. Why don't we have both of them on the field at the same time?
Yeah. Well, Mo Washington, we know he can catch and run.
Yeah. You line him up in the slot or something. You hand the ball off to Zigbo. You can hand the ball out to Washington. You can throw it to him out of the backfield. I think it might be something to try at least.
Hey, we got guys. We got guys from New Jersey watching. Max, we're in Omaha, Nebraska. So we base our shows in Omaha.
So we got snow yesterday, and it knocked out power for like 70,000 customers in Omaha.
Yes. So Wisconsin does have probably the worst team in quite a while, just because Hornibrook can't throw the ball.
Yeah, and we played them tough in a down year for us.
Yeah, and that's why Michigan really was able to destroy them, because they only had a run game. They had no pass game.
Hornibrook's not very good. And Hornibrook is only a junior. We're going to see him again next year.
And I'm really sure that Zigbo would have gotten 4th and inches, 100%.
Yeah.
I do believe that. But, yeah, like you said, 0-5, go for it. Just go for it. We're already losing every game. Just go for it.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose? Nothing. Another game.
You're up. You can still go for it. And
Yeah.
if you don't get it, okay, well, you can stop. I mean, you only netted 20 yards or whatever, 25 yards because you kicked it in the end zone.
So it is frustrating, though. We're not coaches, and I played a year and maybe 1 full year of football in 8th grade.
I played 3 years.
I say playing loosely. I was on special teams. I did have a block punt. I broke my arm in 7th grade, so I didn't play 7th grade. But I do watch a lot of football. Jimmy watches a lot of football.
I started freshman football after injury. I was a backup.
Yeah.
I started O-line on the same line as Zom.
Nick Zom, yeah.
But I played outside backer.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what
so Ohio State.
Running back at St.
Yeah, but I still see us. We could still win 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we could beat Northwestern.
We could still win 4 games.
And then I thought we could beat Minnesota, beat Bethune-Cookman, beat Illinois.
I
honestly thought we might be able to beat Michigan State.
We still could.
And we still could. Like you said, they're one of those up and down teams.
Yes.
At this point in time, I probably don't see us beating Iowa.
Now when they Stanley away, start slinging the ball.
It's one of those games. It's like the last week. It's kind of different.
It's gonna be cold.
It'll be super cold.
Maybe snowy. But
those guys, especially like seniors, they've gotten beat by Iowa for like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So
they don't lose again. But it's at Kinnick. It's gonna be tough. I'm excited for the rest of the year. I'm excited anyways. Win or lose, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
We bleed, Husker red every day. So we're excited for the rest of the season. I think Minnesota, I think we win. Bethune-Cookman, God, we better win. We have
Illinois got pounded by Purdue. I think we should beat them.
We should beat Illinois. It's funny because Illinois, their talent level is not that bad. So I'm not sure if it's coaching, but they actually have some pretty decent talent, and they're getting better. But man, Purdue, they took it to them.
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting a little bit more out of Illinois that game. AJ Bush is their quarterback.
Is he still?
Yeah.
Or did he get hurt?
If he got hurt, I didn't know about it.
Because I thought he was a lefty, and I thought I saw some highlights of
Maybe.
a righty throwing the ball.
Maybe, but I think we win Minnesota, we win Bethune-Cookman, we win Illinois. We're going to lose Ohio State. I don't think we're going to win that game.
No.
We can keep it close. It's going to depend on our game plan.
If you see Minnesota down 17-14 at halftime, I mean, Ohio State goes in probably not thinking too much of Minnesota.
Even losing by 16 points is...
Yeah.
That's respectable for Minnesota.
But at the same time, Ohio State is one of those teams that they either like to run up the score or, they want to do what they can to look good every game.
They tend to do that against us.
And they do that against us.
Yes. So
they have the last couple of years.
Depending on when that game is televised, I may or may not be at a UNO hockey game. I know I'm going to the UNO hockey game. I just don't know when that game's going to be televised.
What game are you going to?
Oh, it's the 3rd, November 3rd. I can't remember who they're playing that game. But either way, I'm probably going to miss it if it's a night game. But if it's a day game, I'll watch it. We do have zero. Yeah, again, I know we have zero shot. I think we can keep it close though if we play like Minnesota did. Anyways, I hope it's more of a Wisconsin game rather than a Michigan game.
Yeah, I hope it's not like Michigan.
Yes,
that was tough.
But if we get a couple wins to gain some confidence, 2 wins in a row going into
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State.
You can go to Ohio State. Maybe you get the ball to start the game and you score a touchdown and
Yeah.
get a stop.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Thinking, but
yeah, I think a couple wins in a row will gain some confidence, and hopefully we have a decent game to where at least we play okay. But I don't see us winning. I just hope that we do well, and it's not a Michigan blowout. No one wants to see that again.
No.
So would I consider Nebraska to be a trap game for most teams?
Potentially.
Yeah, Matt. So Matt.
The problem is, we play Ohio State after a bye week. Their bye week. Mm-hmm. So
well, that's supposed to be our bye week.
No. Well, actually,
it was.
Maybe.
We were supposed to have a bye week with Bethune-Cookman.
But I think that's Ohio State's bye week.
Yeah.
Before that, so I mean, Meyer's gonna have them ready. I mean, player-wise, they might be looking more ahead to Michigan or Michigan State that they're gonna have to play down the road still.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can hope.
Yeah.
That they are overlooking us.
Yeah. So I still think there's a lot of good games coming up. I think we're going to get a couple wins here. Minnesota, Bethune-Cookman, hopefully give us some confidence. Yeah. If not Ohio State, obviously, like I said, I don't think we're going to beat them at all. But I do think we can compete. If we compete in that game, we're going to beat Illinois, and then we have a really good chance of beating and playing strong with Iowa, if not beating them.
And Michigan State.
Which would be really, and Michigan State. So maybe we get a few more wins.
We beat Michigan State a couple years ago when we went 5-7, and they went to the playoff that year.
We did.
So
we got Michigan State. Maryland plays at Iowa. Iowa jumped in the rankings for the first time at 19. Penn State plays at Indiana. I think Penn State's going to roll them. They're pissed about losing this past weekend. You got Ohio State at Purdue. That could be a trap game too. I think you got to watch out for that game because Purdue's got more. Who can run the ball really well once he catches it, and that did hurt.
And they have
Ohio State.
Yeah, and Blau that's thrown for 10,000 yards against Nebraska for the last 12 years.
Yes, 12 at least.
He and that's at Purdue. I mean, that could be a little bit of a trap game.
That could be a little bit of a trap game.
Because Purdue's better than Minnesota.
And Purdue played Ohio State really good last year. That was a really close game. So I think that I'm looking out. I really want to watch that game. I think that could be a really good game to watch for the Big Ten.
Okay.
The only other game outside the Big Ten that I think is worth a damn this weekend is going to be NC State, who's undefeated, going to Clemson and playing at number 3 Clemson. Because I think Clemson is undefeated, but I think they're overrated. I think they are. I think they're going to struggle. I think that game could be really fun. But the Big Ten games this weekend, I think you got a few good ones.
I think so.
A few ranked teams. We have a bunch of ranked teams in the Big Ten, so really looking forward to it. I believe we do have a shot to beat Michigan State. I think just with them being so up and down, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, and not only that, but I know it's different now. We have Frost, but even so, I mean, we had Pelini and then made such a drastic change to Riley, and we still, we beat them.
Mm-hmm.
And when we had Pelini, we always played them well. So since we joined the Big Ten, we have always played Michigan State well.
Yep.
Either throwing a touchdown pass to Jamal Turner as time, 4 seconds left in the game to win. When they had Kirk Cousins, we beat them like 24-3.
Yes.
We play Michigan State really well. We beat them when they go to the playoff.
Yeah, I think Michigan State is one of those games where Nebraska has a good shot again. I'm really excited about that one. Their offense is not explosive, but we have to show progress before we get to Michigan State.
Yeah.
We really do, and I think we can win that game. So really excited. We have 2, 3, 4 wins by then. Boom.
Yeah,
I
these
think
guys
we're
have a
right
little
in
bit
the
more confidence.
Confidence, wins. Shoot, if we go 3-9 this year, last year we were 4-8. Okay,
Right.
So is that big of a difference? Yeah, we should have won some more games, but either way, if we go 3-9, we still have confidence to get there. So I'm excited. We didn't have a lot
Take care
of
of
changes.
business this weekend.
In the top 10, you do have UCF sticking at number 10. They didn't move, but we got Michigan and Ohio State in the top 10 and for the big. I'm excited for the rest of the year. I always am. So just college football in general always excites us, whether it's Nebraska or not. But big Husker fans.
Yeah, we'll see. Could be the first year where a 2-loss team makes it into the playoff.
Really could. And we know at least a 1-loss team will make it in. Guarantee that.
I guarantee that as well.
Guarantee it. Anyways, that's all we got for you guys today. Everybody that commented and joined us today, we really appreciate it.
We usually talk a little bit more about other college football, but you guys all want to talk about Huskers, and so do we. So.
Huskers, Big Ten, I think it's more exciting. So, McKenna Murdoch, you've been huge on this show today and through Twitter, so definitely appreciate it. We want to win some more home games for you. I know you're based out of New York City, doing some traveling as well, but appreciate you joining in today. Everybody else that's joined in today, thank you very much for your comments.
Again, we're usually here on Sundays.
Yes, continue to ask questions. Check us out on Twitter. We're also on iTunes, our podcast, so I'll share that again, but check us out on iTunes every Sunday.
If you don't really want to sit and watch us drinking beers, you can just listen.
Although Max enjoys it. It's pretty exciting if you ask me. Matt, appreciate it from New Jersey. Appreciate you joining in today. Every Sunday, join us. Once again, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We're Two Average Guys. You guys have a good one. Happy Monday.
We'll see you next week.